Okay. Hi, my name is Raquel, and today in this video the topic will be Nelson Mandela and his early life, how he reacted to apartheid in 1948, what actions he took, and we're going to be answering the question, was Mandela successful or not? Okay, so to start off his early life, Mandela was born in 1918. He studied at the Africans-only University of Fort Hare. He met Walter Sisulu in Johannesburg, which had a huge impact on his life, and he began defending black people who had fallen foul of the country's segregation laws. So Mandela's work in the ANC. Mandela joined the ANC in 1944, and he formed the ANC Youth League. He found the strategy of politely petitioning the authorities to be dangerously passive. He also argued that the authorities' suppression of the 1946 miners' strikes and a radical Afrikaner nationalism justified a more assertive strategy of non-cooperation. So here we have his reaction to apartheid. So after the NP election in 1948, Mandela persuaded the ANC to adopt the Youth League Radical Program of Action. So in 1949, he was elected the National Executive Committee of the ANC. In 1950, he was appointed president of the Youth League, and in 1952, the Program of Action was turned into a political reality through his role in the Defiance Campaign, and then Mandela was an important member in organizing civil disobedience and eventually rose to national prominence. So, continuing Mandela's reaction to apartheid, in the 1950s, Mandela opened South Africa's first black law firm in Johannesburg after an arrest and 6 months banning order. He realized that working with other groups would help him create a common front against apartheid. After working with the communist leaders, he took a non-racial approach as his politics swung to the left. He created an alliance with other anti-apartheid groups throughout the Congress Alliance. In 1953, he helped compose the Freedom Charter and drafted the M-Plan, a series of contingency measures in the event that movement was banned. So near the end of Nelson Mandela's run in the fight against apartheid, he entered two infamous trials. So Mandela was a principal defendant of the treason trial, which began in 1956 until his acquittal in 1961. Around this time, he became a dominant figure in the ANC. After the Sharpeville massacre and the potential ban on the ANC, Mandela persuaded the party to consider an armed struggle. Mandela was aware of the possibility of being arrested after the end of the treason trial. In a last act of defiance, Mandela addressed a large crowd of delegates at the All-In African Conference, where he urged the government to admit and fix their errors. Between 1963 and 1964, Mandela was brought to court in the Rivonia trial, where he was sentenced to life imprisonment instead of hanging. He and his comrades would then disappear for 27 years. So how was Mandela successful? Mandela was very successful and effective in the fight against apartheid. He revitalized the party in the late 1940s through his activism in the Youth League. He was a leading light in the 1952 Defiance Campaign, which was where the party really made its mark. His advocacy of the COP was instrumental in uniting all South Africans against apartheid. In conclusion, his defense in the treason trial and the drama of the Rivonia trial ensured the focus of the world stayed on the iniquities of apartheid in South Africa. Why Mandela became such an icon of the struggle is a question that has long interested historians. The courage and fortitude he demonstrated in inviting arrest and then in persevering with his opposition to apartheid was a source of inspiration for many, both inside and outside the ANC. His reputation as a fearless and principled opponent of apartheid was confirmed with his famous speech from the dock at the Rivonia trial, when he announced that the ideal of that democracy was one for which he was prepared to die. So continuing Mandela's success, After 27 years in jail, Nelson Mandela became the first black president of South Africa. He aimed to create a non-racial government which would not be biased to any certain race and which would serve all South Africans, unlike the 1948 apartheid government. Although the fight was difficult, it had a significant outcome in South Africa and the ANC.